So guys, you also ever sometimes feel guilty when you want to do things by yourself, even if you're married and or maybe you have a spouse or boyfriend or whatever, you live with somebody. Do you ever get that guilty feeling, like you don't want to do things alone because, I don't know, I feel like sometimes people, maybe they want to even like do solo traveling, because sometimes I envy people who do this solo traveling, because it's so nice to travel with another person. But I think there's also something about being alone, traveling alone. I don't think it's something I would like to do a lot, but actually I would like to try it, like travel alone. I don't know if I could be able to do it. But do you ever feel guilty, like, oh, I don't want to go, like, go somewhere by myself because my spouse will feel uh, like I feel bad for doing that? Should we be feeling bad about it, or should we just make it normal? And I think I want to take, I think it's okay for me, like now I go on solo dates, like lunchtime, like I am a nurse and sometimes I have days off. So sometimes I have like 3 days off, and I think I would like to be able to go on some solo dates, like lunch and to a cafe or something like that. I think that would be really nice. But I think it would be weird for me to say like, oh, my husband, I'm going for dinner alone, a solo date alone for dinner, I think that's weird. But I think things like, okay, I want to go, like I'm off, I have 3 days off and my husband doesn't have days off. Would be okay for me to go like for weekend, for some days off, go away, or is that bad, guys? Let me know in the comment what you think. But I think we should normalize doing things ourselves. And I feel like sometimes when we are all the time waiting for somebody, not just even our husbands, waiting for our friends to be ready, waiting for your sister to be ready, you're waiting for your husband to have the time off to go do things, I think that will become like codependence. Can I say that? I think we become dependent on the other person. And I think, what about if that person is not there? It's healthy for us to start doing things by ourselves, get to know ourselves, get in our heads, like maybe even turn off the phone and just sit and be within your own thoughts. And I think you might go deeper when you're alone, because then you don't have somebody to talk to. And especially if you put your phone down, or even just put the book down and just pick up a cup of coffee and just drink a cup of coffee and get into your thoughts. Because I think sometimes we put away some thoughts because we're busy looking in the phone, because we're busy reading a book, or because we're talking to somebody. So we don't get in we don't get in touch with our deeper feelings. We don't get in touch with some things we have been thinking about, because sometimes we think about things and then we put them away because we get distractions. If you are alone, sitting alone, no phone, no book, then you're going to be able to really get deep, really think about these thoughts, try to get some solutions, try to maybe say, okay, I have this problem and I cannot do anything about it, and leave it alone, instead of just all the time like putting it away, but then you have not like really worked on the problem. You have not really figured out what to do with the problem. So it's kind of a baggage in your mind, it's causing clutter in your mind. But if you sit by yourself and think about this thought and then figure out what you want to do with the thought, and either you let it go, you work on the problem, or you let it go. If you don't do that, then I think the thought just stays in your head and then you have more clutter in your mind. So, because I think also when we are married, when we are with somebody, we are still individuals. We are still growing individually. Everything cannot be about the other person. You're still growing individually. You're still trying to figure out life individually. We have not figured out everything. I think we keep planning until the day we die. So being alone is also self-discovery. Again, the whole thing of like, you're discovering yourself. Who am I without the phone? Who am I without my daughter? Who am I without my family? Who am I without my husband there? Who am I as a person? Then you're discovering yourself. How is it to be alone? We have to practice being alone, because life is not guaranteed you're going to be with this person until the day you leave here. We are always many people are going to be alone the day they're going to live here. Maybe you have your kids, you have your family, but they're not going to be there with you. At some point, you're going to feel like you're alone. And I think we need to start practicing that, how am I when I'm alone? Because there are actually some people who cannot be alone. They all the time need to have visitors over, need to be visiting somebody, need to be talking to somebody. They cannot sit and be by themselves. So I'm glad I like my own company. I think that makes kind of life easier, though it can also be lonely for some people, but I enjoy my company. So, but discovering ourselves is very, very important, even if we are in a relationship. I also think doing things by yourself can also create some kind of trust, like you have to trust yourselves, like somebody has to trust you, like you're going somewhere and you're doing what you're doing. But I think also it removes this feeling of clinginess. I don't want to feel like somebody's clinging on me, that I'm not be able to go somewhere without them making me feel guilty. I should be able to go spend time with my friends. I should be able to go away without somebody making me feel guilty. Clinginess is not attractive, and some people are really, really clingy. And I always say to my husband, I'm glad that I'm not clingy. I'm glad that I'm very independent and I have my own hobbies, because my husband works really, really hard. Not now, but he used to work a lot, he goes away, and when he comes home, we've eaten, then he goes and sits in his office. It never bothered me. It doesn't bother me because I have my hobbies, I have my time, and I'm not clingy. So if I was somebody who wants like a lot of attention, like when he comes home, you're done with work, I want you to sit here and then we have to be together, I think the relationship will never work. But because I have so many hobbies, when he goes to his office, I'm knitting, I'm drawing, I'm doing things. So I think being able to do things by yourself also prevents you from being very, very clingy to another person. And also, if you go away, you're bringing back some good energy. You're bringing out some stories you have experienced. Instead of like sitting there waiting for the other person to come and entertain you. Honestly, I think we have to normalize that being alone and wanting to be alone, wanting to do things by yourself, doesn't mean you love your partner, your husband, your wife less. We have to normalize it. I think as long as there is a lot of trust, it should be very, very normal. Because healthy love means also freedom. You should have the freedom to do things. The things you used to do when you are single. I'm not saying like if you are used to go partying when you're single, you should continue partying every weekend. You should be able to do things by yourself without making your partner feel like you love them less. But of course, you cannot control how your partner feels, and that's what I said. Like trust is very, very important in this situation. So guys, and that brings me to a whole another point of I don't want to be pouring from an empty cup, because I think a lot of people are pouring from empty cups. Because I think when you're going out and spending time for yourself, you're putting so much back energy into yourself. You're filling up your cup. Yeah, you're filling up your cup, and then you have so much more to go and give to your husband, so much more to go and give to your children. You're like rewinding, you're like charging. I guess I want to call it like you're recharging, your batteries. You're recharging your batteries. You cannot do that if you're on and on and on and on, like constantly on. You cannot do that. Also, if you're with somebody constantly with the kids and the husband and people around you all the time, overstimulating yourself, your cup is going to be empty. So I feel like when you're going out and spending time with yourself, spending time with your thoughts, you're recharging, you're filling up your cup, and then you're going to have something to pour from. I am done pouring from an empty cup. I cannot give out what I don't have. If my cup is empty, I cannot pour anything out. I have nothing for myself. So we need to stop pouring from empty cups. We need to stop pouring from empty cups and learn how to keep our cups full, and learn how to know, like, my cup is half empty now. I have nothing else to pour. I don't want to empty my cup. We need to be able to take a break. We need to be able to break and say, my cup is half empty. I have nothing else to pour from my cup. I need to recharge my cup. I need to fill up my cup before I can start pouring from it again. And I think it's very difficult for women when you have kids. You have a home to take care of, and I think we are always giving and giving and giving. So from now on, I think I'm going to try to do some solo dates. I think they're going to be like I'm a nurse, like I said, and I have days off, and I think Jan is fine me doing that. I think that's even a wrong word to say, like he's fine me doing that. There should be freedom in relationships. So I would like to do more of that. And I also think it's me getting out of my comfort zone. I'm an introvert, believe it or not. I'm a shy person, believe it or not. So going out on a solo date like this is a challenge, but I think it's very, very healthy for me to be able to do that. So guys, let me know what you think about this. Like, is it okay for us to go do things solo even if we are married, or should we all the time be waiting for a spouse? If you want to go for lunch, if you want to go for a coffee date, you should wait until your husband or your wife or whatever is off. Or is it okay to go do the things by yourself? Let me know in the comments, guys. So guys, I hope you enjoy the video, and stay tuned for more videos like this. It's autumn, it's a bit cold outside, and we're going to be doing more videos from inside. And if you have any ideas of videos I can talk about, just let me know. You love my flower, guys. See you in another video, guys. Mwah. Bye.